Hello, guys. Welcome to episode number 1 of the What's Your Why podcast, powered by Cognition Media. My name is Colby, and we have a very special guest on today's episode. I cannot wait to get into it. He has just been nominated for the Rising Star Award in Melbourne. He has come off the back of an award, number 1 agent in Fletcher. He's one of the best agents in Newcastle. Luke Morrison, welcome.
Thanks, brother. What an introduction, eh?
I just
Gee whiz, I've got to live up to a little bit here. Gee whiz, I'm already getting sweaty.
I kind of just winged it, went off the dome, but we're here. Let's go.
Yes, sir.
How has the start of the year been, man? Like, how's your 2024 been so far?
It's been really good, man. I think obviously there's a bit more confidence in the market for buyers, for sellers. I know our volume is sort of ramped up on my team. Definitely now having a very, very solid team. In my opinion, I've got the best EA around in Christy. She's been absolutely instrumental since she came on about 6 months ago. I've obviously got my incredible partner, Laura. She's very involved now in the sale process. And then Jacob Rotten obviously stepped away from, running Adamstown to come and help me out, basically, is why he did it. And it's been instrumental, man. I think we've done in the financial year to date, we've done 54 sales.
It's crazy.
And from the start of the year, we've done 27 and we've got another 5 sales started. So we should have
It's unreal.
30 plus done by the end of March, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's been hectic, but it's been good.
Yeah. You said to me at the start of the year you wanted to reach over 100 sales. That was your goal, right?
Yeah, actually, I've made a few comments to a few people that are less than 100 to fail. And I know how hectic it's been to start the year. It's only going to have to get more hectic, but I mean, we're launching another 15 properties in the next 2 weeks. So
it's crazy, hey.
Just got to keep your vendor communication up, I think, as an agent, and just keep your clients in the loop to ensure that they're a part of the process and, they know what's happening before it's happening, and et cetera, to obviously ensure you're still getting the best possible price. But people just want to know what they're doing with the sale. So no, it's all learning. Obviously, I've only been a lead agent since the start of last year, so it's only really been 15 months of being a lead agent. Hadn't really been in the industry for that long prior to that, but we're still learning every single day, which is the most important thing.
100%.
And we'll just keep chipping away at it.
Yeah. So I mentioned you want, at the start of the year when I spoke to you and you were saying some of your goals, you said 100 sales. Now you're well and truly on track already. The first quarter's nearly done. You're around that 30 mark. How important is goal setting to you, and how does that kind of shape, what you go and set out to achieve? Like, can you break that process down? Like, how do you set goals, and is it an influential part of kind of what you do in your day-to-day life and stuff?
Yeah, it's a great question. I'm still working on it. I think goals are a big thing, right? So in front of my board, I'll send you photos so you can whack up a little. But my thing was 100 sales, like what GCI total I was targeting. And then obviously some personal ones too, which I think are like instrumental. I really struggle to switch off. So when I'm at home, obviously we've got Kai and Laura, having that good quality time with them where the phone just goes on charge and just spend the time with them. And then just having a good, life balance as well. So just trying to get on top of everything gets quite hard because I'm obviously like just so tunnel vision with what I want to achieve and where I want to be this time next year. But it's definitely something, if you look at it every day, you've written it down, it's something that you can certainly work towards. I think just saying a goal is a load of shit, like, to be fair. One of the ones that I wrote down was obviously get back to 90 kegs. I'm about 15 kegs from there, but the rest of them are definitely on track. I just probably, I don't know, need some special skinny pills or something to help me out. But eating on the run all day, every day is not that good, as you can probably tell.
Yeah. You've recently moved into, a new home. What's that process been like? And how has that changed your, daily routine, your day-to-day life, and affected ultimately your work life as well? Because that's a big change.
Yeah, it was, man. Obviously, we've got our first family home together, which has been super exciting in our dream location, and it's been really good because obviously where we've lived before, we've obviously lived with parents, et cetera, et cetera. We were only in quite a smaller house. Now it's our own, and it's been really good. Like Anthony said to me, if you're proud of where you live, you'll be happy where you live. So you sort of bounce out of bed a little bit, and it was definitely Anthony's like push for it. It's a little bit further away from work, but we love where we live. It's good for Kai. It's good for Laura. We go to the beach. You know, most haven't been that much lately, just with my back, and Kai's had some ear infections and stuff like that. But all in all, it's definitely the happiest we've been.
Yeah.
It's obviously quite hard. Some people have said, you know, how do you go working with your partner? Kind of been second nature. Like Laura's background was obviously sales, but back to your question, rather than getting off track. No, it's been really good. Morning routine, just joined the local gym down there. As you can probably tell, my jacket's getting so tight around my arms and that. But
Been hitting them deltoid flies.
I tell you what, every your arm curls, whether it's at the pub or at the bar, the gym. But no, just trying to, you know, keep things moving, go for a morning walk and everything else. But it's just all a process, man. Like, you know, Rome wasn't built in a day. You just got to focus on one thing at a time. And obviously my big driver has obviously been work.
Yep.
But I've also got to remember I've got a young family as well.
100%. Yeah.
So
balance is
that's
everything.
definitely, I've got to try and find a work balance. Like work-life balance is my biggest downfall. But
Yeah, no, I kind of relate to that a lot, and we'll get more into that down the track. What I want to talk about now is recently you just come back from Melbourne. You got nominated for the Rising Star Award, which is huge, amazing. Obviously, only 15 months in a lead agent role. I just want to kind of dissect and just talk about that experience and ultimately what you got out of that experience, and kind of, you know, when you were down there, were you networking, were you meeting these people, what did you learn from these people, and what did you get out of the experience?
So open and honestly, we went down for one day. We didn't go down for multiple days. It was my beautiful partner's birthday, so she actually jumped on a plane at 6 a.m. on her birthday, and obviously put Kai, went to school and whatever else we did with Kai. But yeah, it was good, man. It was a good little day away for us. We met a couple of really good people. Obviously, Tesla just destroyed the New South Wales Awards. His office, his assistant, or, you know, he's actually a lead agent now, Luke Harrison, he took out the New South Wales Rising Star Award. I'm not sure how they sort of pick it or whatnot. I was a little bit, to be fair, bitter, to be honest, at the start, because I actually did more sales, and from what I can see, I got more reviews. But, you know, it is what it is, man. And it definitely put a little bit of fire in the belly to, you know, because they're great agents, man. Like, they're doing big volume.
100%.
One thing I learnt from those guys and networking with those guys is in Newcastle, everyone underquotes themselves, like with fair service. Those guys are charging between 3 and 3.5% every sale.
Yeah, wow.
You know, it's pulling teeth getting 2.5% here.
Yeah,
so,
that's a huge difference too.
Yeah, huge.
Yeah.
Especially if your average sale price is $1 million.
Oh,
you do 50 sales, that's
adds up.
5,000 times 50.
Adds up real quick.
100.
Yeah. So I just want to break down and get more into it. Like, what are some of the things you learnt from these top performing, like these absolute killers in your industry? Like, what are some of the qualities or skill sets that they have that the average agent doesn't have? Like, what separates them from the rest?
Man, one thing that I spoke with a fellow named Michelle. I don't know how to pronounce his name, to be honest. Works for Peter Dematris, who's speaking at ARIC next week. And they have full prospecting. Like, they work 7 days a week, man. That work-life balance isn't a thing in Sydney in those markets, man. It's just all about making dollars and driving nice cars and wearing your Louis Vuitton shoes, to be fair. Yeah. Which is all lovely, but they just don't have a work-life balance. Like, they don't do anything. They just hustle. 7 a.m. in the office, get out home at 9:30, 10 o'clock. Like, they'll go to listing presentations at 11 o'clock at night on a Thursday night. Like, I don't have the capacity to do that, and I certainly don't want the capacity to do that.
Yeah.
I think that's why a lot of those guys are single, to be fair. Like, you can't have a life and kind of do that. I did learn from them, though. It's just when you think, you know, I claim that, you know, we work pretty hard and we do big days and big hours and, you know, work 6 days a week, etc. There's always someone out there doing more than you. So if you think you're doing enough, you're not doing anywhere near enough. It's probably what I learned.
Yeah,
so,
I love that.
Yeah. Those guys too, they do regular breaks too. Like, they do have holidays, and when they have holidays, they don't do anything. So I think that's one thing that I've learned this year, that I've actually booked a few holidays in, or we're booking our holiday in at the end of the May. We've just got a few auctions that'll come up, so we'll get them sorted and get them away and get some cracking results. And then, I think moving forward, you just got to book holidays, but you've also got to remember that there's always someone willing to do a little bit more than you. So if you're not willing to do enough, don't expect the most.
Yeah. No, I love that, definitely. it's good, but right, being in that environment and just, you said you were there for 24 hours, but I guarantee you would have learned a lot just being in the presence of some of those top performing high hitters in your industry. So yeah, what an experience. And maybe next year, are you qualified for next year to get it?
Oh, I don't even know, man. I think
know.
goals will probably be a bit bigger than Rising Star next year. I
Yeah,
think
definitely.
just keep servicing the clients while we're doing. We're obviously doing big numbers.
Yeah.
There's some, even in the Newcastle area, man, you got like blokes like Nick Clark. Like we've spoken about Clarkie 1,000 times.
Yeah.
He's obviously the guy that we're all chasing, doing 300 plus sales. His attention to detail, his reviews, like he's just the goat.
Yeah.
In our marketplace, like I mean, it's quite hard to compare a Nick Clark to an Anthony Donato or a Mike Fluke or a Jesse Wilton because they're different markets.
Yeah.
We're in a turnover market in our little West market and Hunter Valley, Fletcher, wherever it may be. Like I think you've got to compare apples for apples and not apples with oranges.
Yeah.
So in my domain, like obviously there's a few good agents, but Clarkie's the guy you're chasing doing 300 plus deals. So.
Yeah, mad. I want to take it back a little bit now. Obviously you're in a really good position now where you are in your career and stuff, but I want to take it back to growing up and high school and early days, early 20s and stuff, just how you started and how you got to where you are today. And I want to really dive deep into, how you are
nitty-gritty.
Yeah, and how you are the person you are today, because I feel like that stems from kind of your earlier days, right? Where you stuff up a few times and then you learn from it.
Yeah.
So talk to me, what we'll go with high school, because I can't even remember what happened yesterday, let alone primary school. So what was high school like? What were you like as a student? Did you like it? Did you kind of, where were you seeing yourself going? Obviously coming out of high school, 16, 18-year-old, it's hard to even know what you want to do. So talk to me, how did you find that process and what were you like?
I was terrible at school. Yep. Most high achievers are, like they just get bored being locked in a bedroom. You probably notice with this podcast, when you watch it back, I can't really sit still. I'm ADHD as they come. So I really struggled with school. In school, my goal was always to get a scholarship to go over to America and do college golf. Obviously, golf was my life and absolutely everything that I'd ever done. And then, as you grow up, you get other interests and whatever else. And sort of gave that away to just chill through high school and party and have fun, which is, it is what it is. I was never going to be good enough to make any golf, let's be honest, like, no matter what my parents say. But then I still turned pro at 17 at the end of year 12. Went and did a traineeship under Andrew McCormack, who's probably still the best boss I've ever had, the most understanding, caring dude, most beautiful man ever, man. Yeah, definitely. I wish I could probably pick his brain a little bit more now about how good of a boss he was. So early on, like I was one of his first staff members ever. Like it was his first head pro job. So and he was a great boss. So worked for him and then went work for Scotty Davis at Waratah Golf Club and finished my traineeship there and then did a bit of coaching, got a little bit off track and went and ran a bar for a little while and ran a mark. And then a few things happened, ended up going to work for my dad at Tox Free on the sucker trucks, like NDD stuff, working in the mines, etc., working for the council. And I took a shot for Irish job, didn't last there. I think I lasted 3 days. And then after that, what did I do after that? I went and worked in a rail yard. Worked there for probably 12 months. Went on the afternoon shift. They ended up cancelling the afternoon shift, so I didn't have a job. And ended up reaching out to Kate Finney, who at the time was at PRD, which is where I started. And that was the sort of process how I got into real estate. But back to where we're going from. School wasn't very good. Never really had much interest there, to be honest. And
so you kind of just fell between a few industries. You were kind of, would you say you were a bit lost, like in that?
I think my life was golf. I think that once I lost golf, I sort of lost myself massively and sort of, hung around different people and sort of become a bit of a loser there for a little while. And didn't really know what I wanted to do and just sort of went with the flow and did a bit of this and that and whatever comes with it. And then, found real estate and it changed my life. Maybe not the first 12 months. I was kind of just like doing admin stuff there. And then once I got my certificate of registration, that all sort of changed. And I didn't have that for very long before I went out on my own, that's for sure.
No, it all seems like the last 2 years, 3 years for you, it's just been an upward trajectory and it's just... It's crazy to think.
I think,
Yeah, I want to talk to you just a little bit about your golfing. Obviously, it was a huge part of yourself growing up and your identity. And you mentioned when you lost that, you lost a little bit of your identity, and that's huge. So when you did kind of branch away from golf and stuff, did you feel like a bit, obviously you mentioned you were lost and stuff, but me being so young and growing up as well, like I see like a lot of people, my age and stuff, and it feels like you have that pressure of society that you have to tick a box.
100%.
Did you feel that? And how did you navigate through that?
I didn't navigate very, like now I look back, I was like when I see, people in the position that I was in, I look at them like, man, you just got so much to lose, but you got to fall, you got to learn to crawl again, learn to walk, and then learn to run. So I would just say that it's a tough question. When you lose your identity, right, you don't really know which way you're going. You just got to find something that you've got the same drive. And the first thing that I ever found a drive and a passion for after golf was real estate.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Bang. So you've got into real estate through a mutual. Is that correct? Like you knew someone, you got into the industry.
A guy that I live with, Mickey Belcher, he's still one of my good mates and a brother to me. He's, he calls him his sister, Kate. Got me into real estate.
Nice.
Did a bit of admin through them.
Yeah.
And then got into my certificate of registration. I was a part of a team as a bit of an admin assistant, to be fair, for not a very good agent, to be brutally honest. But a good person, and taught me how to be a good person and how to act around certain people, and taught me some great lessons. And then once I got my certificate of registration, I felt like I'd learned enough after a couple of months. Went out on my own.
Yeah.
I didn't last very long at PRD after I got or presents, whatever you want to call themselves. Once I got my certificate of registration, then I went over to Bell and learned how to do real estate properly, and here we are.
Talk to me about the early days. What'd that look like? What'd that involve? Was it late nights? Was it lots of letterbox drops? Was it cold calling?
When I joined Bell, obviously I was single. I was doing 400 to 500 letterbox drops of a morning with Deppy Boy.
400 to 500 every morning.
Yeah, so we'd go for a walk. I sort of gave away the gym at that time, or I'd go really stupid times.
Yeah.
Then I'd go and do calls around those letterbox drops. When we sold something, there was a letter that went to every house in the area. Man, I went hammer and tong. I didn't really make a dollar, even though I was selling houses for months.
Yeah,
just because everything that I earned, exactly what we spoke about the other day, everything you earn, you put back into the business to grow the business.
Reinvest, right?
Yeah, reinvest. I was investing in myself. And
I love that.
Yeah, no, it was tough though, bro. In Fletcher, so to speak, it's the first time that this particular agent hadn't been the number one agent in Fletcher, and we did double him out nearly.
So talk to me about that quickly. Sorry to cut you off. Obviously in Fletcher, when you were coming up, there was the go-to person and stuff. How do you pitch yourself? Because it's hard to pitch yourself when you're fresh, when you're young. Yeah. And people just say, well, we want to go with them because they've been doing it for years. You've got
exactly
nothing.
what I get now. Yeah.
So how'd you pitch yourself to
I'm certainly not going to give away all my secrets.
No, I don't want you to, but I just want to.
How do you pitch yourself?
I just want to understand.
What I used to say,
yeah.
Great question. What I used to say when people would ask me that would be, I'd just say, guys, they've been doing it now. They've been the number one guy out here. They're not really that motivated anymore. What are they doing? They're doing average photos. Guys, what I'm pitching is, targeted marketing. I'm doing this. I'm the young hungry agent that's going to get you that extra 50,000. Here's the results that I've done over the last couple of years working for a guy, coming to Bell. I was pretty lucky when I joined Bell. I got a call the first or second day that I'd been there and got 2 listings that had already been on the market with that particular agent. And we took them over and sold them successfully for $50,000 and $75,000 more than what they could get. And those guys were advocates, and we got good testimonials, and I blasted them everywhere. And
so you leveraged.
Yeah, leverage. These guys couldn't sell it, but our attention to detail, our hungriness. This is how we got this best possible result through our targeted marketing. I used them as case studies. So in particular, there was one in Tallerwood Crescent, which is where I grew up in Fletcher.
Yeah.
Their photos versus our photos, process. This is the highest offer they got. This is the communication they had. This is what we got. Rah, 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 rah.
Yeah.
And got them a great result. And I went and gave that to every single house that we went through. And there's I think it's still good competition, right? Because they're still there, they're still trying, doing their best. They can, but they make me better, and I think I make them better as well. I went through obviously working for an agency that you were kind of hitched to rubbish people, so to speak. When I joined Bell, Anthony was like, everyone rubbishes me, like, just don't get involved in it, and stop getting involved in it. I was really, really lucky that I obviously started working underneath Olivia and Max, who aren't with Bell anymore, but they were pretty instrumental to my career, like attention to detail. This is how we do things. This is how we do photos. And they just didn't rubbish anyone. They just did their job really well and let the results talk. And that's kind of what got inbred into me from being inbred. Is that the right word? But bred into me. Yeah, not inbred. Bred into me from joining from Bell Property. From there, and got a few runs on the board, and then obviously competed against this particular agent. Won a few listings, got a few big results. Then the suburb record come along. They had it with a couple of other agents prior to me getting it. It had 6 months off the market, and I said, guys, this is what we're going to do. We're going to run an auction campaign, which apparently they don't work in Fletcher, but beg to differ. 5-week auction campain.
What made you do that?
Had to be different, bro. Had to stand out from the crowd. You had to have a guide there that was, that was fair. That we actually, funny fact, the offers that they got on the property first of all was around that 1.4 mark. I auction guided it from 1.5 because I could see the value. So we just did a few things with regards to how we staged the house, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, the marketing was really good. Yeah, we used a videographer, and then we just did the right things. We're doing open homes Wednesday, Saturday, Thursday, Saturday. We just spoke through the process. I think we had registered for the auction. I think we had 4 or 5 registered for the Saturday auction. A guy that came through pretty early in the campaign threw me an offer of 165, and I laughed and moved him to 1.7, and then he tried to close it there. And then obviously I said, mate, if you want to buy this prior to auction, you need to be serious about it, and got an offer on a contract at 1.750.
Unreal.
Yeah, no, it was good. My owners were taking 165. That was the record. That's what they wanted. And got the right number for them. And
so how did you see value in that? And I think as an agent, you need to be cool throughout the sale process, right?
I'm really lucky that I was at Bell when I did it. To be fair, I had Matt McBreedy, our auctioneer. He was in my ear the whole time, I was ringing him, and then he was in the office, and we're just running ideas, and I wouldn't have got that result without those guys. Mickey Phillips as well. Mickey Phillips was on the listing as well. Yeah. We just sort of bounced ideas. Obviously, Fletcher's my baby. I love Fletcher. I'm really proud of Fletcher. Yeah. Ask me where a street is, I'll tell you where it is. Yeah. But those guys didn't have that emotion involved in it. Then once we got the result, man, there's no real emotion. I'm still proud of the results, but there's not that emotion anymore to I've proven myself. Right. We broke a suburb record in the worst market in the last 5 years by $150,000.
Yeah, it's a great thing to leverage, like you said earlier.
The next best sale after that's circa 145.
Yeah, and who knows, you might beat it again soon. So
yeah, there's some good ones coming.
I want to talk about though the earlier days. What were some of the challenges and the struggles? And because it's not all that easy. You just kind of went through from start to finish how it started. But I want to get in the nitty gritty on what were the struggles, because it's not all sunshine. It's not all sunshines and rainbows. Like you mentioned, you were doing 400 letterbox drops a day and stuff. Did you cold call? Did people tell you to fuck off? Who are you? Stuff like that. Talk to me about that and what was going through your mind through those early days and stuff like that.
So you just got to do the things that everyone else wasn't doing. I was doing my own letterbox drops. I was doing my own cold calls. Yeah. When I started at Bell, I think we had 40 contacts in the database.
Yeah, wow.
I obviously had been focused on it quite heavily over at PRD. You obviously can't take databases from place to place. So it was starting fresh, but because I'd been focusing on the area, you still get called in from, other stuff and word of mouth. I was a sponsor for the soccer club there over at Midmine. But the struggles are you have to do your own letterbox drops. You've got to do your own cold calls. You've got to post all your own social media. You've got to do absolutely everything yourself. And what I don't, you don't appreciate now, I've obviously got a marketing EA. I've got all of that team behind me to do the things that they're good at and they love. But at first you're doing all that stuff yourself. I was posting in all the community pages. Heaps of people hate me over it now. I'm actually banned from posting in the Maryland Fletcher community page because I used to post every sold result and every listing.
Really?
Because it would just generate so much listing, and that's how I got my name out.
It's super smart, man. When I saw you do that, I was like, that is smart. You're leveraging, and
Community group.
this is the stuff
There's
that
7,000 people in that group.
yeah.
And they all used to whinge about, so much real estate. So then I end up creating my own 2287 real estate page. There's only a couple of agents that post in there, but
I think put you aside. I think it's great that you all do it because it's great that you're leveraging your content that myself produce for you. That's one big thing that I ramp on about to everybody I work with. Leverage the content I produce. You don't just bloody post it on Instagram and expect results.
Yeah.
So I love how you do that and you drive that. It's really, really smart. It's super smart.
And it's targeted, right? I think targeting, what I'm trying to say is targeting the right areas and having like a community page like we did is the best part to leverage us as a team and as a group. Like we're touching base with people
100%.
that have got property within that area. I think
it's relevant.
Honing your mastercraft, like where you want to be best. Like Nick Clark started in Thornton and Chisholm. Or I don't think Chisholm was a thing then, but started in Thornton.
Yeah.
Become the king of there, and then look at him now.
Yeah. Mentors. I want to talk about in those early days, how did you have mentors and how did they play a pivotal role in ultimately you becoming the agent you are today?
Yep. My first mentor was Jesse Wilton. I leveraged Jesse because he was the best agent at PRD at the time. He wasn't working under the PRD. He was doing his own inner city. I just really liked how he operated. He was at high volume, high numbers. Like I really loved what he did and still does. So I reached out and we were doing coaching sessions every week or two, instrumental for my career. Like what he was doing, I tried to do 10% more when he started his career because I wanted to do more than him.
Yeah.
Obviously Jack Henderson was always there and thereabouts. Hendo's got a big brand, a big name, and just using like his little tricks with like social media marketing and not caring what people think and etc. And then obviously I kind of moved. I've sort of mentored and had plenty of conversations with Nick Clark as well, Reece Thompson. Anyone that is doing more than me and I can learn from is who I want to learn from. I don't want to learn from Joe Bloggs down the road that's never done it before.
Yeah. So how do you initiate that relationship, especially when you don't know him from a bar of soap? Or
Exactly how you introduce yourself to me.
Yeah, but I want to break it down for the audience. So let's say you don't know these people at all. You don't have mutuals to say, hey, can you introduce me to him? Because I really want to, just connect and learn and stuff like that. How do you go about introducing yourself to these really successful and high value people in their market? So all the people you list are ultimate at what they do. They're so good. I think the world of all three of those people you just said as well. I love them all. So how do you go about, doing that?
I think obviously through work you kind of get a name. So obviously working with Jesse and then talking with Jesse, training with Jesse. So like we'd go up to his house at Cooks Hill and I'd have training sessions of a morning and stuff like that. Like that's how I met him. The other guys, I just reached out.
Yeah,
mate, I'm trying to be who you are. Just be really raw and real. Love what you do. Is there any chance we can have a coffee soon, or is there any chance and some of them will get back to you and some of them won't.
Yeah.
And that's totally normal. Some people are just busy and they don't really want to, they don't have the time for it, which it's brutal, but like who's more important? A young kid that's trying to learn off them or themselves and their family. So you just got to reach out. You don't know if you don't ask is what I say to my team now.
I love that.
And, it's exactly like we didn't know each other from bar assault and you're like, bro, I'll do a video for you for free.
Yeah.
Same as them, like, is there anything I can help with or is there anything, what would be one tip?
Yeah.
You don't know if you don't ask.
100%. Yeah, I can't stress by that. Like, what's a simple no? Sorry, bro, I don't have time. Like, at the end of the day, like, even if they say that, like, what's that really? It doesn't really break anything. Like, it's not like you're gonna fall apart or
100%.
So yeah, no, I love that. Any other mentors that were absolutely because I want to talk about basically how these people have shaped you, and then now you're working with a team.
Yeah.
And the things you've learnt from these people early on, how are you taking bits of them and now managing a team? Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, I've worked with Laura Vandermortel, who's probably been my biggest mentor in the most important part of my career. I wouldn't be half the agent I am today without Laura. Laura's attention to detail. She knows how I work. She knows how I'm triggered. Like, she knows how to get the best out of me. You can't do that. And then I'll go and do it. Like, leveraging that, it can be even, back in my golf days, like my golf coach, Jason Laws, like him teaching me that it's all about the attention to detail and all those little 1%ers, which now golf and real estate aren't anywhere near close, but implying those 1%ers, this is what you got to do. You got to make your 80 calls a day. You got to drop your 1,000 letters a week, like whatever those little 1%ers that you think you need, you've got to do them if you want the results. And if you don't want the results, then just be average and just be another number. I just refuse to be a number.
I love that. That's really good. How are you going? You've got a team now, really good team too. How are you finding, obviously managing yourself, but now managing multiple people and multiple personalities? It's tough. No one's born a leader. I think you just learn.
Yeah, 100%.
How are you managing that?
It's tough. It is tough, but I've got a good team. I think the biggest thing is, right, you got to lead by example. If you're not leading by example, what have they got to look up to, right? So you got to keep doing all those 1%ers. Like you get to the stage where you put a team on, you're starting to get a bit tired, right? And you just can't. You got to take time off or do whatever you need to do to be like ready to go. So your biggest thing is just to lead by example, spend the time with them, appreciate them. One thing that, I'm definitely working on at the moment is like, hey, I really appreciated what you did there. Great things. Focus on all the good things, not so much the bad things. Keep focused on the good things. And when there's a couple of bad things, just sit down and go, mate, you did this really, really well. But what about, that's not acceptable. The reason why we don't do that is because X, Y, and Z. What happened here? Did you just forget? Yep, awesome. Can we just make sure that we've got that in the calendar so we don't forget? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So,
yeah, no, I love that. Do you think it's a challenging time in your career managing, or are you embracing it and loving it?
Yeah, definitely embracing it. I think it's the next stage of growth for me.
100%.
You just got to keep building. Depends what you want to do, right? Like, do I want to be an agent that just does 100 sales every year? Do I want to be an agent like, Clark that's done more and more and more and more every single year? 100%. You just got to find your why and what drives you and what pushes you. Like, is it starting your own brand? Is it, proving your net worth at a brand like I have to, potentially one day buy in or buy share, like whatever that may be. You just got to find out what your why is and really harp on that and just use it for your motivation.
How do you go about like managing the different personalities and stuff like that?
It's tough.
Because some people are like out there loud, and then some people are like softer.
Me. Yeah.
And they need that nurturing, a little bit more.
I think you just got to understand their personality types. One thing that we do at Bell is obviously they do a caliper test. The caliper test is then referred back to them. If you actually look deeply into the caliper test, you can kind of work out what sort of person they are, and then just attention to detail about those little things. And I think no matter what their personality type is, whether they're loud or whether they're not, they're there because the money's right. But the second thing is they just want to be appreciated. They want to be appreciated for whether you see it as hard work or whether you just see it as doing their job, whatever it may be, they're just got to be appreciated for it because you get the most out of people when they're most appreciated.
100%. And I want to quickly touch on that point. How do you create a why for your team? It's like, why do I have to do this? Like, how do you instill that in a team so they want to achieve that why?
Yeah.
Like, why is that important as well?
I think in real estate, if you're in real estate, right, there's a lot of monetary things, like a lot of monetary drivers. So if the monetary drivers are there, you set the incentives there and just explain to them, if you get these KPIs, then you'll book these amount of appraisals. Like,
yeah.
You've got to instill what their why is and actually ask them the question what their why is. Yeah. Their why might be, I want to buy a GLC 63, whatever. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But
understanding what their why is and then breaking that down. How do they get to that? Okay, so then it's, exactly right. You just got to break everything down into a goal and a process. And if you can do that, it means you're understanding your staff, which means you're actually listening. Yeah,
I love that. My script is gone. I'm sorry, guys. Anyway, so we've talked a lot about, your why and stuff like that. I want to get into more of your vendors and stuff like that, because that's a huge part, right? It's a huge part. What do you think the most important thing or things when dealing with vendors and getting that appropriate result and satisfying them?
I think just explaining to them, right? I think communication's a big thing.
100%.
There was a sale that we did recently where I actually took the listing on, or got the listing as well. They wanted, a minimum of 1.3. The other local agents went out there and were like, oh, this is what it's worth due to X, Y, and Z. I didn't take any comparables out there. I said, guys, this is how we get to where we need to be. This is our process. here's your $5.5 market, don't want to pay it. And I was like, I understand that, but this is how we get the result. Do you want to trust me or not? I put my money where my mouth was, and we sold it for $100,000 more. But just communicating every day, hey, mate, this is what it is, or every second day. Some people don't want to be spoken to every day, like it's overkill. We do everything in WhatsApp, so voice notes, videos, making sure you're just keeping like they're not having to ask you about anything. Their house might sell for $50,000 than what they were hoping for. But if you've explained to them why, and this is where people are seeing it, and the communication's there, it means you're going to get the best possible result for them in the current marketplace. So communication with your vendors is impeccable. Part of my everyday now is vendor communication, whether it's driving to work, whether it's on the way home, whether it's sitting on the lounge sending a WhatsApp voice note or whatever. Your communication is your absolute number one to ensure that your clients are in a clear understanding about where they're at, where their property's at, and what they have to do to move forward.
100%. Yeah, you want to be up to
There's
date.
not so much fluff. Like there's some agents that buy presents and gifts and this, or it's exchange. Like I don't do any of that. I probably should be a little bit more personable, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like we obviously give vendor gifts and stuff like that once it's sold, but I'm not there to like blow them away with kindness. I'm there to blow them away with service and to get them the best possible result.
100%. Yeah, I love that. What's some of your advice to like a young agent now that's watching this and, you know, who wants to kind of, I don't know, just get something out of this and propel their career potentially? What would you say to them?
Yeah, great question. I would say pick a suburb, not a core area. Start with one suburb and become the absolute best in that area. Doesn't matter who you're coming up against, whether it's, you know, Womble and you're coming up against Matt Steinwade, whether it's, you know, Potts Point, you come up against Gavin Roop, like whatever it may be, or Thornton, you're coming up against Nick Clark every day, or, you know, Ashtonfield against Reece Thompson, the apartments in whoever you're coming up against. Just do more than what they're doing, because someone will see how much work you're doing. Get heaps of content is one thing that I've seen my career blow up now is the content that we do. Obviously, we do a couple of videos a month of just content plus the ongoing property videos.
Yeah.
Have a plan. So sit down with how do I achieve, you know, this many appraisals? Awesome. Well, you need to make this many calls a day. You need to do this many letterbox drops. Break your plan down. If you want to do 2 listings a month, well, then you need to make 2,000 phone calls a week and you need to get 5,000 letters out. How are you going to do that? On your foot. Make it happen. Build your database. If you don't have a database, you don't have anything, right? Because at the end of the day, you might touch base with people in that database that mightn't sell for 10 years, but if you've touched base with them 3 times a year for 10 years, who are they going to list with? The guy that they're seeing the most with. My tips to a younger agent would just be pick a suburb, have a plan in place. When you make money to start with, reinvest it.
Reinvest, yep. Don't go out buying new RM Williams or a watch or anything. Just reinvest.
Like I did when I started.
Did you?
Yeah, 100%. I got 3 pairs. That's what we'll talk about the other day. I've got 3 pairs of them.
Well, to be fair, I feel like that's kind of reinvesting in yourself as well. Like you're investing in, you know, how you present yourself, and, you know, you kind of want to look a bit professional, right? Yeah. No use rocking up to a listing appraisal or like inspection and something and rocking up in like dunks or something. Like something I would do, but anyway. What's your favorite thing about real estate?
Oh, man, I love real estate, full stop. I love the thrill of the chase. There's nothing more that I love when I'm like the second or the third favourite agent going into an appraisal. Like, I'm not a chance, and I will blow them away. The one we got in Katung Street, I was the 5th agent in. It was when I hurt my back, when I slipped over at home.
Yeah.
And I said I had to cancel it, and then we had to move it. And she's like, hey, we've actually found an agent we're comfortable with. And I was like, nah. So, like, I literally, like, begged, this is the results we've got in the area. This is what we're doing. What time suits you? And she's like, 7:30 tomorrow night. I was like, I'll be there.
So you'd say like proving to people, like,
yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
So tell me I can't, and I will, and I'll show you what I will.
Yeah.
Is that an ego thing? I don't think it is. I think it's just I like changing the script.
Yeah.
Like
do you reckon?
I love selling good properties. I love helping, you know, whether it's an older lady, an older man sell their house that's worth $650,000, $670,000, and you know they're counting the whole way to the bank about how good it is that we got that extra couple of $1,000, even though they owned it. And,
yeah.
There's not one thing that I like more or don't like less. I just love the process of real estate. Like you're changing lives every single day. You got to be grateful of it. You just got to be upfront and honest.
Yeah. Do you think that stems like your love and wanting to prove your point to people? Do you reckon that stems to your early days when you played golf?
I think because I've lost my identity now that I've sort of found it again. Like I am.
You kind of want to prove that this
Yeah.
is you. Like, I'm not
And
gonna.
you know what, man? I think if you're a good agent, right, anyone will talk about you. And I've only sort of noticed it the last few months where, you know, there's agents that talk about you, and like you're on the back foot because they've said the two agents that have gone in before, oh, Luke's no good, he's going to overpromise and underdeliver, or you know, he's going to charge them, 2.5%. We'll charge you 1.5, which is what we get a lot of the time. So then proving your value at a higher mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just basically, there's not one thing I don't love. Like, I love real estate. Like, I literally get excited for it. I literally sit on the lounge and Laura's like, "Are you still working?" I'm like, "No, I'm just looking at what's been listed in the 2281 this week." And she's like, "Why?"
You're just obsessed.
I'm obsessed with it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's good. But how is your early days being a pro golfer? How has that influenced your career today? What are some of the things you've noticed that have been implemented from back then into your career now?
Exactly what I said before about like Jason Laws. He taught me about attention to detail, all the 1%ers, just like hustling all those things.
Yeah.
If you do 101%ers, you're at 100%. So just focusing on all those little things, doing all the right things, be very open and clear. We obviously do open negotiation, like we're pretty raw and real. We just don't do the fluffy real. Oh, we've got interest within the guide. So I've just found the best way for me is like it's black or white. You know how I operate. Like I tell it brutally how it is sometimes, and sometimes I need to taper that down a little bit. But I was getting a little bit off track there, but.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Your attention to detail you learnt from your golf days, you've carried that over into your real estate. And I think that's kind of carried over to your results, you could say as well, because you go that extra 10, 1%. If you think about it, if you do 10, 1% things, it adds up. That's 10% extra.
Yeah.
That's what I kind of say to myself.
Like little things. Like another thing that we always do is like dust photos, right? Every listing that I do dust photos. The other agents now this season we're doing dust photos, so they'll get their day photos edited to dust photos, and you can see it looks crap.
Yeah,
but we'll stay there
super
till 7:30, 8 o'clock, just to make sure that we get that right shot. The photo, the copyright's done properly, like all of that thing. We've got a listing process where we're not just throwing it online on Tuesday and opening up Thursday night. Like there's actually a process with us every single time. So,
and it goes far. And
process is everything.
Yeah.
Attention to detail and a process.
Yeah, and it shows in your results. No, I love that answer. That's really good. How important, you mentioned at the start that balance, that's something you struggle with.
Yeah.
And something you could work on. And I love that you identify that, especially now you've got a young family and stuff. How important is that your young family to your career and stuff? And how does that balance out?
I think for us too, like obviously before I got into real estate, I was broke. I had no money. I had nothing, right?
Yeah.
Could barely afford my car repayment. So now it's kind of, for me, it's like a vehicle for success, right? It's our vehicle to financial freedom. It's how we buy investment properties, houses, moving forward. So I think, like for me, it's like I look into that all the time because this is how we're going to achieve the best result. This is how we're going to get on that holiday. This is how we're going to do X, Y, Z. But at the end of the day, like it's satisfying when you're walking home and, you said that smiles on their face.
100%, yeah.
Daddy's home, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. What areas can you improve on, do you reckon? Like how can you?
Probably just setting some boundaries for myself, to be fair. That was the question, wasn't it? So how do I...
It's hard, bro. You're navigating, you're learning all this stuff. You're still very young in your career.
How do I improve? What are the things that I need to improve on?
Yeah.
I would say setting boundaries for myself and being like, okay, when I get home at 6:30, my phone goes on do not disturb, put it on charge. Whatever doesn't happen today will happen tomorrow. I'm happy to start work a little bit early, but then, reading books, playing basketball, going for a kick, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Just giving them the quality time that they, thrive in and love and need.
I love that. The low points. Everyone goes through them. Talk to me about some of those low points and what was it like, and how you got through it. And you don't have to go in detail and this is what happened and stuff. I just want to understand, like, what you learnt basically from some of the low points.
Yeah, I think my low points were obviously losing my identity really after golf, right? I didn't really have an identity. I was just trying to fit in. I was trying to be everyone's mate doing this and that.
Yeah.
And sort of become a bit of a loser because I was just losing myself more and more every day, to be honest.
Yeah.
Once you identify that and you can start, finding, for me, it was like I found real estate. So then my attention to details was like pleasing clients, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not everyone's cup of tea either. So like knowing who your people are. I feel like I found my identity now, and like even little things like obviously I grew up in Wallsend, Maryland, Fletcher Way. Unfortunately, we had a funeral yesterday.
Oh, I'm so sorry about that.
Yeah, like for a fella that, and like the different faces that you haven't seen for 5 or 6 years, because I sort of went through that stage where I just didn't really associate with them. And,
Yeah.
you know, it's pretty cool when everyone comes up to you and, you know, we were in a position to help out with the funeral and with the
nice.
sale of the house and all that sort of stuff. But
Mm.
it's really nice hearing those people that probably didn't have the nicest things to say about you back then that now say, bro, you're killing it. Like, you're doing really well. Like, what's the plans moving forward? Rah, rah, rah.
That's awesome.
For me, that's what really, like, it's like, you know, I'm doing a good thing.
You've come out the other side, you'd say, eh?
Yeah, 100%, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. That's so good. I'm so sorry to hear about that too. About your loss. Yeah. I want to talk about, this is the What's Your Why podcast. So Luke Morrison, what is your why? Why do you get up out of bed every morning?
I want to become the number one guy. Like, I would love to be. Obviously, Nick's a good friend of mine. I want to knock Nick off his perch there. I want to become the number one guy in like sales volume wise.
Yeah.
That might be a 5 or 10 year goal because he's on a rocket to the moon and, you know, he's got some great staff and a great business and everything else. What is my why? I want to be able to provide for my family. I want to go on the holidays. I want to, you know, buy the houses that we want. I want to, you know, live a comfortable life financially so we can enjoy the simpler things like holidays, send the kids to school, the schools they want to go to.
Where do you want to travel to? Where's like some of yours?
We were meant to go over in May, just over to like super late notice. We're going to go over to Perth and do like the travel up to Exmouth.
Yeah, yeah.
She's a pretty expensive trip now though.
It is, yeah. I think I looked the other day. Flights are like crazy.
Bro, so for 3 weeks, for me, Laura and Kaya, it was 15 grand for 3
Really?
weeks.
Jesus.
Car, flights, accommodation. That's not food or anything else. 15K.
Go to Europe or something. Well, I mean, yeah, for
Literally.
you, but yeah.
Not for me, maybe for you.
Yeah, with the family. For me, that's like, yeah, Europe.
Or you could just have another week up at the Shoal Bay Country Club.
Bro, it does wonders to your bank account. Fuck, you've lost me there.
That was good, eh?
That was good. That was
a
good.
little
That was
off-cut.
good. That was good.
Shoal Bay hasn't been the same since Christmas, I've heard.
Success.
Success stories.
The success, right? So everyone's definition of success is different. What would you say is your definition of success? What makes a successful person?
Great
to you?
question. For me, success isn't like a number of sales. It isn't a number of GCI total. Success for me is like, you know, my little brother being like, he's proud of me and like they look up to you. Obviously having a partner that's proud of you, kids that are proud of you, parents that are proud of you. I think that's what success is. Like when people look at you and they're like, they smile and you can just tell that they're proud of you, and that is what success is. Because it doesn't matter if you're doing 10 sales, 1,000 sales, or 1 million sales a year. I think if people can look to you for advice, look to you as if you're successful, that's what success is for me.
I love that. That's so good, man. That's so good. I love that. That's a golden nugget right there.
A golden nugget.
What makes someone successful though, do you reckon? Like what are some of the attributes that you'd say makes someone successful? I know it's a bit of a jaded question when you know you say it's not monetary and stuff, but like how can someone be successful?
I think once you get to a stage where like I'm pretty in a comfortable position, I don't really give a fuck what other agents say about me. Pardon the French. I don't really care about what other agents say about me. I don't really, as long as my team is feeling comfortable, doing well, if we're doing well, if life's good at home, that's what success is, right? It doesn't matter about the number of sales. I think it's just...
Yeah, but I want to just, for the average person, what are some of the attributes that...
attributes.
I didn't really word that question right. I'm
Attributes
on my
is
podcast apprenticeship right here. I'm trying to learn...
I've got my L plates on here.
I've got my L plates on, dead set. I'm like, fuck. I hope this is good. If you're still watching now, bro, God bless, because this is probably the worst thing ever. But anyway, we'll go through it.
We'll chop it up.
Yeah, define to me, how can someone be successful? Because for me, man, I think consistency is everything.
Consistency is everything. Attention to details. Do what other people don't want to do that they talk about doing but don't do. Just, you know, for me, like doing your own letterbox drops, like doing your own cold calls. It isn't anyone's job in my team to find me the next listing. That's my job. It isn't anyone else's job to find the next sale. That's my job. It's my job to close.
Yeah.
Attributes of success, not giving a fuck is a big one.
Yeah.
Like Conor McGregor, right? You think about his attributes, right? He's hardworking, he's dedicated, he's consistent. He doesn't give it.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Like
I
I
agree.
think that like athletes like that, right? Tom Brady, like that they're still doing. LeBron James,
Yeah.
best athlete of all time. And that's
Huge goal all time, really.
all time. Who's better?
Bro, like, what about Messi or Ronaldo? Come on.
Yeah, okay. So how long have they been in their peak for?
Ages, like 10, 12, 15, 13, 14, 15 years.
Look at the numbers. LeBron, 15 years ago, when he started hitting his
Yeah.
peak, when he joined Miami,
Yeah.
to now, the numbers are nearly the exact same.
Yeah,
and he's
wow.
38 years old. He's actually older than whoever those soccer players are.
It's just turned into a sports podcast.
But you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
what is he doing? So his attention to detail is every morning he gets up, red light therapy,
Yeah.
ice baths, eats the same meals. He's got a chef.
Well, he's consistent, right?
He's
So, yeah.
consistent, but
Yeah.
he's doing the stuff that people talk about doing that aren't actually doing it.
I love that. That seems to be the theme, right, of this podcast, that extra 1% consistency, going that bit further that other people talk about doing and they ultimately don't do it. You
Yep.
do it, you're slightly that little bit better.
I wouldn't say better. I would just say that we're a little bit more
Yeah, not better. Sorry, that's a bad word. Just dialed in.
tunnel visioned.
Yeah,
A little bit. You got to be
dialed.
very dialed in, tunnel vision,
Dialed.
locked in, baby. We
Yeah.
locked in.
Speaking about being
Fire up, lads.
being dialed in, do you believe in like manifestation and stuff like that? Is that something you kind of get around or not? You think it's a bit of a
Yeah, in ways, man. I don't really manifest much. I just instead of manifesting and hoping it happens, go make it happen.
yeah, 100%. You can't just sit on a
Yeah.
cloud and hope it
I
happens. You
think
gotta-
little things like when I listed Magnolia, I was like, this is going to be the suburb record. I'm going to be in the paper. Like, you know, you think about those things because you push for that result and it's always in the back of your mind. So manifestation is definitely a thing and it should be your motivator to achieve those things.
yeah,
It's definitely a thing, man.
yeah, I love that. I'm so big on that, and just I'm a bit of a weirdo when it comes to that shit.
Introvert.
But anyway, I want to talk about, before we wrap up this podcast, what's next for you? What's the next 6 to 12 months look like for Luke Morrison?
I think for us is obviously keep settling in our house, help Cry, keep growing into the incredible young man that he is. He's obviously got, his dad's family, Laura's family, my family behind him, supporting him do anything that he wants to do. I think for us with Laura, I think it's growing her in her own career and setting her up to do whatever she wants to do, whether it's, go out on her own, whether it's become a buyer's agent, like whatever she wants to do is help her find her why and what her reason is. I think for me, it's just continually keep growing and reinvesting in the team. We've got a few new team members potentially coming on pretty soon. We are obviously just trying to keep growing so we can do more, be more. And I think, what's next? Yeah, I haven't really thought. I
it's
think
hard, eh?
it's hard. I think I would love to eventually, potentially even buy the business off Anthony, like when he's ready to retire. I think it's the best brand in Australia at the moment. Like I don't think any of the other big brands really compare with marketing, attention to detail. Like for example, we're the only big name brand that don't put photos of ourselves on the signboards. Why? It's not about us. It's about the property.
Yeah.
Like I think like those little morals I think are really great. That might not happen. It's it's definitely a goal where I can push myself to the stage where it's like this is the guy that's going to take the reins when I'm ready to retire. Maybe we might have another child. Buy some houses.
Yeah.
I'm about to buy Laura a new car.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Mad. What car? Well,
We're still looking, man. We're going to have a good look over the weekend and just see what she wants. What I want for her and what she wants is two totally different stories. She'd be pretty happy with like a Range Rover Sport, top of the range. I'm pretty happy with like a Mazda CX-5 or something for her.
Yeah, relatable. Like, I'm in Laura's position. I'd love that. That'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, she's not greedy at all, and she doesn't really spend money at all. But I just think it's like a good family car for us to go on holidays, et cetera, et cetera.
100%. Yeah.
So
yeah. No, I love that. Thank you so much for your time. You've been on the first episode. And I just really appreciate it. This is something that I want to do here and there, just to get like-minded people on and just just talk for an hour or so. And if you guys watch this and relate with any of it, I really appreciate it and appreciate the support. Thank you so much, brother, for coming on.
My absolute pleasure, man. Thanks for having me first potty. And if you don't know who Colbs is, definitely get on and get behind Cognition. What did I say? Cognition.
Bruh,
Definitely get on. If you follow Colbs, definitely get on and get behind. He's incredible videography stuff. I think one of the biggest things for us is, and we've spoken about it before, it's such a pleasure to be able to send Colby to a client of mine, which then becomes a client of yours, and they all absolutely love you. Like, you have a look at our WhatsApp chats are,
Oh, really?
Colby's beautiful. He's so well mannered. So real estate agents, car agents, whatever you want. If you're looking for a content creation guy, Colbs is your guy. He's absolutely incredible what he does. But thanks for tuning in, and
Yeah, wow.
what you buy.
Episode 1, baby. Let's go.
Let's go.
Thank you.